Hey, so we are going to head into our next hip variation, deer pose. This one I always used to think of as a groin variation, which it can be depending on how you're working it, but it is also, excuse me, an excellent outer hip stretch and a wonderful variation to a pigeon. Super knees, lets knees be really happy. A little bit confusing about how to get into it, so hopefully I'll clear all of that up for you now. You can play around with it. Perfect. So for deer pose, I'm going to start, I'll start sideways because that's the way you'll be facing. So you can either face one end of your mat or the other end of your mat. The best way to start into it, let's say your legs are just kind of sitting in front of you, you're going to need to shift the weight over to the leg that's in front, right leg in front, to start with your left leg out to the side. So take all of your weight over to the right. So you're shifting, shifting, shifting. Tuck your left leg behind you and then draw yourself up towards a seat. So behind you in, where does it go? It goes wherever it feels comfortable for right now until we figure out what we're doing. Your right thigh, you want to run it parallel to the side of your mat. So I need to nudge myself over. We're just giving ourselves some guidelines right now to figure out what's going on. Your right shin, you want to take it parallel to the front of your mat. So wiggle it, wiggle it, wiggle it up. So when I look down, I have about as close to a 90-degree angle as I can get. And you're looking for a 90-degree angle in the bones of your legs. You're trying to imagine that the skin and the muscles disappeared and you could actually just see the lines of the bones, right? Because skin, muscle, flesh kind of heads in its own direction sometimes, but the bones should be safe. Knee is in line with ankle, ankle in line with knee, knee is in line with hip. So give or take 90 degrees. That right foot can be active or it can be soft. That's up to you. For the back leg, we again are trying to get our knee in line with our hip. If that's bothering your inner knee or really tugging at your groin, you can draw your knee a little bit more forward. If the inside of the knee is hurting you, your foot might be too close to your butt. So you can let that draw open, right? So in a perfect world, your knee and your hip are in one straight line and you have a 90-degree angle with your back leg and a 90-degree angle with your front leg. If that puts you way off kilter and it's way too intense in the outer hip and the inner thigh, you're going to draw the knee forward and let the heel fall in. So play around with variations that feel good to you. For some of us right away, we're tilted over like crazy. We're like, what is going on? I can't seem to let myself settle down. Make it through the end of the video, see if it makes sense. If it doesn't, let this variation go for now. That is okay. There are plenty of other variations. So once we've got everything kind of situated, we have our 90 degree and as close to our 90 degrees feels comfortable in our body, I want you to find both butt bones. So the left one is lifted, probably a little or a lot for most of us. Try to take a little more energy over there. It doesn't have to be a ton. Right hip bones and belly are going to go in straight and align towards the front of your mat as you can. And you want to tilt forward to the front of the butt bones, right? We don't want to be rounded back here, so sit up really tall. And if that already, you can feel a stretch in both hips or even one hip, you can stay here and again, get active in the right foot if you would like. For me, I need a little more, so I'm going to nudge baby out of the way and start to head forward with a flat spine. Already, I'm getting a really deep outer right hip stretch, and I can feel it all the way up through the low back, all the way up through the right side of my spine. So if that feels like enough and you like that activity, you can head into that. If you want to soften it, you can start to round, and again, space for baby if you need. Round yourself forward. How low you go doesn't matter. Nobody cares but you, so don't worry about that. Blocks are there if you want to, and again, it might feel really nice to keep it long and lifted. To me, that feels better. It's a little more active. Or you can round in the upper body to let it fall down, right? If you need a little bit more, a little bit less, this is where you play around and see, does rocking to the right or rocking to the left give me a little bit more stretch? Certainly activating your right foot is going to give you more of a stretch. So if you're all the way down there, you're super flexible, especially with baby and everything going on with body, flex through that foot first, push through the heel, and then send the heart a little more forward. Keeping the spine longer and flatter is going to give you more intensity, rounding and softening a little bit less. Perfect. So that's one side. You'll gently draw yourself up. We're going to get out of it as safely as we got into it. It seems laborious, but it's the best way to go. You'll rock everything over to the right. Left leg gets really soft. You'll just swing it around. Boom, you're sitting down. You shake out your legs. I'll show you this other side facing forward so you can see what's going on. Let's get these blocks out of the way to start. So I'm just going to kind of start in a half straddle, so we know our left leg's going to be the one to start. I'm going to rock everything over to the left, so there's no weight on my right leg at all. It can kind of move anywhere it wants. I'm going to bend my knee and just swing it back behind me. I'm going to draw myself up to a seat. Since I'm sideways on my mat, you are not. You're facing the same way you did. I'm again going to look for my shin to be parallel with my mat and my thigh to be parallel with the other side of my mat. So I have as much of a 90 degree as I can. Again, I'm not way out of the way. Knee and hip, knee and ankle, right? Everything's nice and strong. I'm going to shift weight forward. Ooh, nose. Play around with that right leg. If it needs to move forward, if the foot needs to open up. Excuse me, there it is. Draw yourself up. Wow, this groin is a lot tighter, so I'm gonna move my right knee in a little bit. That's gonna lessen the intensity. I'm gonna sit up tall. Notice that I'm rocking to the left, take energy to the right, and then again, shift forward, get baby out of the way there, and just start to put a lot of weight down on the outside of the left leg. Widen through the chest, lengthen through the heart, and just breathe. Blocks can go underneath your hands or your forearms if you need. Maybe you're really active in the left foot, or maybe you're soft, and you're just noticing, right? It can be really intense, or it can feel really, really nice. I'm gonna grab those blocks because we all know I love them. Keep everything really long and active, making as much space in the hip and groin. And again, if you want it to soften, always let that happen. Just make space for baby as you go. And if you need to play around and shift a little bit left or a little bit right to add to your stretch, go ahead and do that. Just take a couple deep breaths here just to really feel what's going on. Good. And then let yourself draw all the way up. Again, to get out of it, same way we got into it, everything goes over to the left. So it's like you're gonna roll onto your belly. You'll swing your right leg around like you're breakdancing. Extend your legs, unbend your knees, shake them out. Perfect. Deer pose. Should feel good in the knees, as in it doesn't bother the knees at all. Maybe you're getting a lot of groin, inner thigh sensation. I know I do. Maybe a lot of outer hip crease sensation, and definitely outer hip on the other side sensation. That is normal. That's where you want to experience sensation, not pain, sensation. Nothing in the knees. If it's bothering you in the knees, manipulate the legs a little bit, here, there, here, there. See where you can get it to work. And if it's just not working on your body, not every pose is right for everybody and every body. So don't do it. It's just a variation. It's fun to play around with if it makes sense to you. And there's so many different deer variations. That's just a general one for stretching the hips, right? They're ones that get deeper into the groin and so on and so forth. So that is one to play with. If it suits you and it feels good to you, add it in. Play with it in your flows. Cool. See you later. Bye.